Let me ask you something that most people are too afraid to say out loud. Have you ever sat quietly, maybe in your favorite chair, and thought to yourself, how much time do I really have left? Not in a sad way, not because you're giving up, but because you feel it, don't you? The changes, the slowness, the silence. Maybe you don't move like you used to. Maybe you forget little things more often. Maybe some days just feel heavier than others. And somewhere in your heart, the question rises, is this just aging, or is it something more? Now here's the truth most people won't tell you. Your body might already be giving you the answers. Not loud ones, not dramatic ones, but small, quiet signs that speak volumes if you know how to listen. This isn't about being afraid. It's about being aware. You've lived through decades. You've loved, lost, worked, built, struggled, survived. You have nothing to prove. But that doesn't mean you stop paying attention to your body. Because after 70, your body starts to speak in whispers. And if you learn how to hear those whispers, you might actually give yourself more time. That's what this video is about. 8 subtle but powerful signs, proven by science, that can help predict how long someone might live after 70. Not to scare you, not to rush you, but to help you understand where you are and what you can still do. Because here's the thing, it's not too late. Not to take better care of yourself. Not to ask the right questions. Not to make changes, real, simple, doable changes that could extend your time or at the very least improve the quality of it. Some of these signs will surprise you. Some might even already sound familiar. But every one of them matters. So stay with me. Watch all the way through. Because by the end of this video, you'll know what to look out for and what you can do about it. And if you're here because you want to understand your own body better, to take control of your health in this stage of life, just drop a comment saying, I'm here. Let me know you're listening. Let me know you care. And if you want more honest, down-to-earth ways to keep living with strength, dignity, and awareness, go ahead and subscribe. This is Elderly Care, and I'm here with you every step of the way. Let's start with something you might have already noticed in yourself. The way you walk. Maybe you don't move as quickly as you used to. What once felt effortless, getting up from a chair, walking to the kitchen, heading out to check the mail, now takes more time, more focus, sometimes even more courage. You might catch yourself hesitating before taking that first step. Maybe you shuffle a bit. Maybe your stride has shortened. You tell yourself, it's just age. Everyone slows down eventually. And yes, some slowing is natural. But when your walking speed noticeably drops, especially over a short period of time, it could be telling you something deeper. Here's what the science says. Doctors and researchers who study aging closely have found that your walking speed, also called gait speed, is one of the most accurate predictors of your overall health and even how long you might live. It sounds simple, but it's powerful, because how fast you walk reflects the strength of your muscles, your balance, your coordination, and even your heart and lung health. It's all connected. See, walking isn't just a physical task. It's a reflection of your body's reserves, your internal energy, strength, and stability. And when walking slows down significantly, it can be a sign that those reserves are starting to wear thin. But here's where it gets tricky. Most people brush it off. You might think, well, of course I'm slower. I'm in my 70s. And yes, aging changes things. But that doesn't mean it should be ignored. Because walking slower isn't always just about getting older. It can be a warning, a quiet one. And it's your body's way of asking for help before something more serious happens. So what can you do? First, don't panic. Slowing down isn't the end of the road. It's a signpost, something you can notice, respond to, and act on. Start small. If you can, take short daily walks, even just around the house or out in the garden. Make your home safer by clearing clutter, securing loose rugs, and using supportive footwear. And if you've really noticed a big change in your pace, or if walking has started to feel unsafe, talk to your doctor or ask about seeing a physical therapist. They're trained to help people just like you move more confidently and more safely. Because here's the thing, walking may feel ordinary, but it's one of your body's loudest signals. And you don't have to ignore it. You can listen to it. You can take it seriously, because how you move matters. And walking is just the beginning, because there's another kind of movement that often gets overlooked. The way you speak, your voice, your pace, your words. That too tells a story. Now I want you to think about your voice. Not just the sound of it, but how it feels to speak. Do you ever find yourself searching for words that used to come so easily? Do sentences take a little longer to form? Have you noticed yourself repeating the same thought? Not out of forgetfulness, but because the words just won't settle in the right place? Maybe you've caught yourself mumbling more. Or maybe others have started asking you to repeat what you said. You might have brushed it off, thinking, I'm just tired, or I didn't sleep well last night. And sometimes that's all it is. But if it's happening more often, if your speech feels slower, less sure, less fluid, it might be more than just a moment of tiredness. You see, as we age, our brain and nervous system naturally slow down a bit. That's normal. But when speech changes, especially slurred words, long pauses, or stuttering where there wasn't any before, it can be one of the earliest signs that your brain is trying to work harder to do what once felt effortless. And here's where it gets serious. Research has shown that slowed or slurred speech isn't just a quirk of getting older. It can actually be linked to early neurological changes. Sometimes it's related to cognitive decline. Other times, it's the early stages of conditions like Parkinson's or stroke risk. But most people don't catch it. Why? Because families, friends, even doctors sometimes chalk it up to just aging. They hear you speak a little slower and think, well, she's in her 70s. That's expected. But here's what they miss. When speech changes noticeably, it's a red flag worth paying attention to. And this isn't about being scared. This is about giving yourself the chance to respond early, to do something. So what can you do if you've noticed these changes in yourself? First, listen to your own voice. Pay attention to how often it happens. Are there certain times of day when speech feels harder? Are you more forgetful? Or does it just take longer to say what you're thinking? Talk to someone you trust, a loved one, a friend. Ask them if they've noticed a difference. And if they have, don't ignore it. That doesn't mean something bad is happening. It just means you've been given a head start. There are professionals who specialize in this, speech therapists, neurologists, even general practitioners who can run simple screenings. And often, if something is happening neurologically, catching it early gives you a better chance of managing it, of staying independent longer, of staying you longer. And here's a little tip. If words feel harder to find, don't be ashamed of it. Slow down, breathe, use lists, notes, reminders, whatever helps. You're not failing. Your brain is just asking for a little support, because how you speak is a reflection of how your mind is doing. And your mind, my friend, is one of the most powerful indicators of your future health. Which brings us to something else. Not what you say, but what you feel. What gives you purpose? Let's talk about something that isn't physical. It's not your walking. It's not your speech. It's something deeper, quieter, something that lives inside you. Your sense of purpose. Now, I want you to ask yourself something honest. When you wake up in the morning, do you feel like you have a reason to get out of bed? Do you have something, anything, that makes you feel needed, connected, or fulfilled? Or have you started to feel like the world doesn't quite need you the way it used to? Maybe you spent years raising a family, building a life, working hard. Maybe you were the one everyone came to for advice, or comfort, or help. But now, the house is quieter. The phone doesn't ring as much. And some days, it's just easier to sit still, to stay in, to not reach out. I want to tell you something gently but clearly. That feeling, that slow slipping away of purpose, it's more important than most people realize. Because scientists have been studying this for years, and the research is clear. Having a strong sense of purpose, even after 70, is directly tied to living longer. Not just living more years, but living them with more vitality, more clarity, and more peace. See, purpose gives your body a reason to keep going. It fuels the immune system. It supports your mental health. It keeps your heart steadier, your mind sharper, and your days more meaningful. But here's the catch. A lot of people think that once you reach a certain age, you've earned the right to just rest. And yes, you have earned rest. You deserve it. But purpose isn't about pushing yourself. It's about staying connected to something that matters. You don't need a job title to have purpose. You don't need to run a charity or lead a club. Sometimes, purpose is as simple as listening to someone who feels lonely, sharing your story, teaching your grandchild how to make your favorite recipe, volunteering once a month, calling someone who needs to hear your voice. Your wisdom, your presence, your life, it still matters. And the truth is, it probably matters more now than ever before. If you felt that loss of purpose, if you've gone days or weeks feeling like you're just existing, I want you to know you're not alone. But you don't have to stay in that place. Start small. Pick one thing, something you used to enjoy or someone you used to check in on. Write it down and do it even just once this week. You might be surprised at how it lifts your spirit, at how your body responds to simply feeling needed again. Because no matter what age you are, purpose isn't a luxury, it's a form of health. You still have something to give, something only you can offer. And the beautiful thing is that purpose doesn't have to be grand. It just has to be yours. Now, let's shift for a moment. Because while purpose feeds your spirit, there's another sign that's often overlooked. It's physical, it's quiet, and it shows up right there on your plate. Let's talk about something simple, but deeply important, your appetite. Have you found yourself pushing your plate away lately? Maybe your favorite meal doesn't taste quite the same. Maybe you get full too quickly, or you're just not interested in food at all. And when someone asks, you say, I'm just not that hungry these days. At first glance, it might seem harmless. After all, your body's slower now. You're not running around like you used to. So of course, your appetite would slow down too, right? Well, yes and no. See, a small shift in appetite is common with age. But when your interest in food starts to fade noticeably, when eating feels like a chore instead of a pleasure, your body may be trying to tell you something. This isn't just about calories or weight. It's about survival. Your appetite is one of the first systems in the body to respond when something's not quite right. It could be a warning sign from your digestive system. It could be your body's quiet reaction to depression. Or in some cases, it can signal that your body is starting to prepare for the end, even if no one wants to talk about that. But here's the thing. Losing your appetite doesn't always mean something terrible is happening. Sometimes your senses are simply changing. Food doesn't taste as bold. Smells aren't as sharp. You don't crave what you used to. And unfortunately, families and caregivers often misunderstand this. They might try to push more food on you, urge you to just eat something. They mean well, but what you need right now isn't pressure. You need understanding. So what can you do? Start small. Don't worry about big meals or full plates. Focus on tiny portions of food that are rich in nutrients. Soups, smoothies, soft fruits, yogurt, eggs. Try eating more often throughout the day instead of sticking to the old 3-meal routine. And most importantly, drink. Hydration becomes just as vital as food as your appetite declines. Keep water, tea, or flavored drinks nearby. Sip throughout the day, even if you're not thirsty. You might also explore ways to wake up your senses again. A little extra seasoning, a splash of citrus, or even just eating in a place with light, music, and no stress. Because food isn't just fuel. It's connection, it's memory, it's comfort, and it's a quiet way your body tells you whether it feels like fighting or fading. So if you've been skipping meals more often, if eating has become something you avoid instead of something you enjoy, don't ignore it. You're not being difficult. You're not being picky. You're being honest. And that honesty deserves gentle support, not frustration. Talk to someone. Let your doctor know. Let your loved ones in. There are ways to help you eat well again, without stress, without pressure. Because eating well, even just a little, can bring your strength back. And your strength still matters. But appetite isn't the only thing that fades as the years go on. Sometimes it's not what's on your plate. It's who's sitting across from you. Let's talk about something you might not even realize is happening. Have you been turning down invitations lately? Letting the phone ring a little longer without answering? Saying maybe next time to visits, bingo nights, church gatherings, or even a quick walk with a neighbor. And then one day you realize you haven't seen anyone outside your house in days. If that sounds familiar, I want you to hear this, gently and without judgment. Withdrawing from social activities, slowly stepping away from connection. It can happen so quietly, so gradually you don't even notice. You tell yourself you're just tired, or that people are too busy, or maybe that you just need a little time to yourself. And sure, Some quiet time is normal, even necessary. But when being alone becomes your default, when silence replaces laughter, or when you go days without a real conversation, your body and mind start to feel that deeply. Because science is clear, social isolation, especially after 70, has real, measurable impacts on your health. It increases your risk of heart disease. It speeds up cognitive decline. And yes, it can even shorten your life. It's not just about loneliness. It's about your nervous system, your hormones, your brain. They all respond to human connection. The sound of someone calling your name, the warmth of a hand on your shoulder, the joy of shared laughter, even over something small. Those aren't just emotional comforts. They're biological necessities. But here's where many people, maybe even you, get it wrong. You might believe you're just becoming more private, or that you've earned your peace. And yes, you have. But peace and isolation are not the same thing. Too much quiet becomes a kind of weight, a slow, invisible pull away from the world. And the longer you stay away, the harder it becomes to come back. So what can you do? You don't need to join a big group or attend crowded events if that's not your thing. Start simple. Call someone you haven't talked to in a while. Write a short letter to an old friend. Invite a neighbor for tea. Even consider adopting a pet. Just the presence of another heartbeat in the room can make a difference. And if you don't feel like reaching out because you're ashamed or unsure what to say anymore, say that. You'd be surprised how many people feel exactly the same way. You're not a burden. You're not forgotten. You're still part of this world, and you still deserve to feel connected to it. And if it feels like you've drifted too far, know this, it's never too late to come back. Even one small act of connection can start to open that door again. But sometimes, even when you want to connect, when you want to do more, you just can't find the energy. Not just the social energy, but any energy at all. And that's another sign your body may be showing you. Let me ask you something straight from the heart. Are you tired? Not just the I didn't sleep well last night kind of tired, but that deep, quiet exhaustion, the kind that follows you from the moment you open your eyes to the moment you close them again. You wake up feeling like you never really rested. You find yourself needing naps more often. Even simple things like folding laundry, watering the plants, getting dressed start to feel like too much. If that's been happening to you, I want you to know this. You're not lazy. You're not weak. But your body might be trying to tell you that it's struggling. This kind of fatigue, chronic, heavy, unrelenting, it's one of the most overlooked signs in people over 70. And it's one of the most important to pay attention to. Here's why. Fatigue at your age doesn't always come from lack of sleep. It could be a symptom of something deeper, something happening quietly inside your body. Doctors have found that ongoing low energy can be linked to your heart, your lungs, even your kidneys. When these systems begin to slow down, your body starts redirecting energy just to keep itself going. And what's left over for thinking, moving, enjoying life is often very little. But because fatigue is invisible, it's easy to ignore. You might even tell yourself, well, of course I'm tired. I'm old. And yes, your body has carried you through a lot. But that doesn't mean it should feel this drained all the time. This isn't about blaming age. It's about noticing the difference between natural slowing down and your body waving a little red flag. So what can you do? First, give yourself permission to rest, but not to retreat. If your body is calling for rest, listen. But also make sure you're giving it restorative rest. That means creating a sleep routine that actually helps, going to bed at the same time each night, avoiding too much stimulation before bed, and making your sleep space peaceful and comfortable. But rest alone isn't always enough. Talk to your doctor. Let them know this isn't just about feeling a little tired. This is different. This is constant. They can check for things like anemia, thyroid changes, blood pressure issues, and more. And most importantly, try to keep a rhythm to your day. A small walk in the morning, a gentle stretch in the afternoon, a meaningful task, no matter how tiny, every day. Because fatigue is not always just a symptom. Sometimes, it's your body's early way of asking for help before things get worse. And help is always within reach, especially when you speak up. But fatigue is often only half the story. Sometimes your body shows its struggle not just through how it feels, but in how it looks. especially when the weight begins to drop, without you even trying. Now I want you to do something simple. Think about the last time you really looked at yourself in the mirror. Not just a glance, not just to comb your hair or brush your teeth, but really looked. Have your clothes started to feel a little looser around the waist? Do your sleeves hang where they used to fit snug? Have your arms, your face, even your shoulders started to look thinner, like something's slowly disappearing, even if you haven't changed your routine? If you've noticed these quiet shifts in your body and you haven't been trying to lose weight, listen closely. Because sudden or unexplained weight loss after 70 isn't just a number on the scale. It's a red flag. Now, it's easy to shrug it off. You might tell yourself, I'm just not eating as much these days, or my appetite isn't what it used to be. And maybe that's true, but that explanation doesn't go far enough. Because weight loss at your age, especially when it happens fast or without trying, could be a sign that your body is working harder than it should to keep up. It could be muscle wasting, where your body slowly breaks down its own strength. It could be linked to something more serious, like an undiagnosed illness, heart disease, cancer, digestive problems, or organ decline. And sometimes, it's not even about what you are eating, it's what your body can no longer absorb the way it used to. But here's the tricky part. People around you might notice your weight loss and say things like, you look great, or you've slimmed down, good for you. And while they may mean well, those comments can make you dismiss what might actually be a serious issue. Because when your body is losing weight for the wrong reasons, it's not getting healthier, it's losing resilience. It's losing fuel. It's losing the reserves it needs to fight illness, recover from falls, stay balanced, and stay strong. So what can you do? Start by paying attention to the little signs. Are your clothes fitting differently? Are you eating less than you used to? Do you feel weaker or tire out more easily? Don't ignore those changes. This is the moment to schedule a checkup, not just a routine one, but a thorough one. Talk openly with your doctor. Ask to look at your nutrition levels, your muscle mass, your digestion. You can also keep a simple food journal, nothing fancy. Just write down what you're eating, how much, and when. Sometimes just seeing it on paper can reveal patterns that need attention. And when it comes to your meals, focus on quality, not quantity. Even small meals can be powerful when they're packed with protein, healthy fats, and vitamins. Things like eggs, lentils, smoothies with nut butters, Greek yogurt. Foods that give your body strength, not just fill your stomach. Because your weight isn't just about size. It's about survival. It's about strength. It's about giving your body the resources it needs to keep going day after day. So if you've been losing weight without meaning to, don't stay silent about it. Don't brush it off. This could be your body's way of asking for help before something bigger happens. And now, we've come to one of the quietest, yet most powerful signs of all. It's not about what you do. It's not about what you eat or how you move. It's about how your mind holds onto the world around you. Let's take a moment now and talk about something that hits closer to the heart than almost anything else. Your memory. Now listen, we all forget things now and then. Where you put your glasses, why you walked into a room, a name that's on the tip of your tongue. That happens to everyone at every age. But what if it's more than that? What if, lately, you find yourself forgetting the names of people you've known your whole life? What if you walk into a store and suddenly can't remember why you came? What if you get turned around in a familiar place and it takes a few minutes longer than it should to find your way back? These moments can be frightening. They can make you second-guess yourself. And often, the scariest part isn't forgetting. It's realizing that you forgot. You might feel embarrassed. You might try to hide it. You might even joke, oh, it's just old age catching up to me. But let me be honest with you, as gently as I can. Not all memory loss is just age. Some of it is something more. Doctors call it cognitive decline. And more specifically, when you start forgetting how to do tasks you've done all your life, like paying bills, following recipes, remembering appointments. That's your executive function. It's your brain's ability to plan, recall, organize, and adapt. And when those abilities start to slip, it can be one of the earliest and most serious predictors of long-term health changes. But here's the hope. Not all memory loss is permanent. Not all decline is a straight line. Sometimes, memory issues can be caused by things like dehydration, stress, medication side effects, or even poor sleep. And with the right care, early care, those slips can be slowed, stabilized, or even improved. That's why it matters to pay attention. So if you've noticed these changes in yourself, if you've had to write things down more often, if people around you have started saying things like, "You already told me that," or "You've been forgetting a lot lately," don't dismiss it. Don't pretend it's not happening. And please, don't carry that worry alone. You're not losing yourself, but you might need support to stay steady. There are memory-strengthening exercises you can do, puzzles, games, wordplay, even storytelling. There are routines you can set to help you remember the important things, using alarms, checklists, placing items in consistent spots. And most importantly, there are doctors and specialists who can help you get a clearer picture of what's happening inside your mind. Because your memory is more than recall. It's your sense of self. It's your connection to your family, your stories, your joy. And you deserve to hold on to that for as long as possible. These moments of forgetfulness, they're not a failure. They're a signpost, a quiet one, asking you to look a little closer, to care a little deeper for your mind, just like you would for your heart. And now that we've talked through these signs, all 8 of them, I want to leave you with this. These aren't just symptoms. They're not random, isolated quirks. They're insights, little windows into your future, clues about what your body and your spirit might need from you now. So let's take a breath and pull it all together. Because what comes next isn't fear, it's understanding. And from there comes strength. Now that we've walked through all 8 signs, let's pause here just for a moment. Not to worry, not to panic, but to feel what this really means. Because if you've been listening closely, if even one of these signs felt familiar, you might be feeling a little overwhelmed right now. Maybe even a bit shaken, like something inside you just shifted. It's hard, isn't it, to notice these changes in yourself? To admit that the body you've lived in for so long, the body that's carried you, that's worked and held and hugged, is now whispering back to you in ways you weren't prepared for. It can feel like you're losing something. Your strength, your clarity, your independence. And that realization, it hurts. It can make you feel vulnerable or even invisible. But I want to tell you something from the deepest part of my heart. These signs you've just learned about, they aren't reasons to give up. They aren't signals that your time is over. They're invitations. Invitations to check in with yourself. To ask for what you need. To let others in. Before things get harder, not after. Because awareness doesn't equal fear. Awareness is love. It's courage. It's how you protect yourself. Even in this stage of life. When you understand what's changing, when you truly see it for what it is, you give yourself power. Not the kind of power that lifts weights or climbs stairs, but the kind that builds peace. The kind that allows you to live on your own terms, with dignity, with grace. You're not a burden. You're not broken. You're becoming more aware. And that awareness can help you have better conversations. With your doctor, with your children, with yourself. So don't wait for things to get worse. If you've seen these signs, if you've felt them in your bones, or noticed them in your routine, talk. Say something. Reach out to someone who will listen, even just to sit beside you as you sort through what's next. Sometimes, you don't need the perfect words. You just need someone to see you, to hear you, to remind you that your life still matters, right here, right now. And if you're scared, that's okay. If you're unsure where to start, that's okay too. You don't have to get everything right. You don't need a perfect plan. You just need to care enough to take that first small step. Maybe it's calling your doctor. Maybe it's letting a loved one in. Maybe it's simply choosing to keep watching, keep learning, keep paying attention. Because caring for yourself, for your future, is one of the most powerful things you can do. You've lived a long road. You've carried others. You've held so much. Now, it's your turn to be held, to be supported, to be heard, to be cared for with the same quiet strength you've given others all your life. And if no one's told you this lately, let me be the one. You matter. You're not done yet. There's still so much life, so much love waiting for you. So now, here we are. You made it to the end of something that took courage to sit with, to listen, to reflect. And I want to honor you for that. Let's gently go over what we've uncovered together. We talked about walking, how slowing down isn't just about aging bones, but could be a deeper sign of what's happening inside your body. We talked about speech, how when your voice changes or your words come slower, it might be your mind asking for attention. We talked about purpose, that quiet flame that keeps you going, and how without it, even the healthiest body can begin to dim. We talked about your appetite, and how a fading hunger could mean your body is struggling to nourish itself. We talked about social withdrawal, not as a personality shift, but as something that can slowly chip away at your spirit and your health. We talked about fatigue, that bone-deep exhaustion that too many people dismiss, when in truth, it could be your body's way of asking for help. We talked about weight loss, the kind that sneaks up, unintentional, and often points to something deeper than a lost appetite. And finally, we talked about memory, the way forgetting can feel like losing pieces of yourself, and why those moments are never something to ignore. These aren't just medical facts. They're reflections of your life, your experience, your reality. And if even one of those signs felt a little too familiar, please don't ignore it. Don't brush it off with "it's just age," because what you feel is real, and what you do next matters. You are not powerless in this. Talk to someone. Ask questions. Let your loved ones know what's been changing. And if they don't know how to respond, point them here. Let them learn with you for you. And I want to hear from you. If anything in this video resonated, if you've noticed these signs in yourself, if someone you love is facing them right now, tell me in the comments. Not because you owe anyone your story, but because someone out there might be going through the exact same thing, and your words might help them feel a little less alone. And if this video gave you something to think about, something that stuck with you, I'd be honored if you joined us here at Elderly Care. This space is built for people like you. People who care, who reflect, who want to walk through this part of life with a little more knowledge and a whole lot more compassion. We don't offer miracle cures. We offer truth. Gentle, grounded truth delivered with love. So consider subscribing, stay close, and know that every week, I'll be right here with more ways to help you understand your body, your mind, and your path forward. Thank you for being here with me today. It means something. You're not walking this journey alone. You're seen, you're valued, and you still have so much to offer. Stay kind to yourself. Stay curious. Stay strong. And I'll see you in the next video.